we will proceed to our first panel discussion. And to start that, I'd like to tell you a little bit about what this is going to be about. So, education, they say, is the passport to the future. But what happens when the journey to school itself is fraught with barriers? Ladies and gentlemen, our first panel for today dives into this very issue, bridging the gap, tackling school dropouts and enrollment challenges. Or like I like when Dr. Reddy says this, what or who is keeping the children out of the school? Nelson Mandela once said, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Yet, millions of children remain unarmed in this fight for a brighter future. This panel will explore the complex factors from socio-economic barriers to systemic challenges. That is, keeping the children out of school. And how can innovative solutions pave the way back into learning? And to guide us through this compelling session, we have an incredible panel of thought leaders. So first, I'm going to start with Dr. Suresh Reddy, CSR lead and director of SRF Foundation. He will be the one who will moderate this session. With over 2 decades of experience in education and CSR, Dr. Reddy has made it his mission to empower marginalized communities through innovative initiatives. Welcome, Dr. Reddy. Next, I'd like to invite Mr. Sanjay Singh, UNICEF State Head, Maharashtra, a true champion of child rights, bringing in 25 years of work experience in driving education and social change. Welcome, Mr. Singh. In line next, we have Mr. Akhil Agarwal, Head of Quality Assurance and MIS at Educate Girls, whose data-driven approach is transforming educational opportunities for the undeserved communities. Welcome, Mr. Agarwal. Followed by Ms. Leena Kejriwal, founder and CEO of Missing Link Trust, who combines art and activism to tackle the root causes of social injustice, including education inequality. Lastly, to join this panel, Mr. Antony Nellissery, head of Sterlite EdIndia Foundation, who brings a wealth of expertise in teacher education, technology, and mentoring, with a career spanning over 27 years dedicated to transforming learning systems. Now, before we begin, let me just say, if education is the passport, technology might just be the visa. And this panel is definitely the embassy where everything just comes together. So without further ado, let's dive into the discussion. Over to you, Dr. Reddy. Welcome to the panelists.
Thank you, lovely. Can you switch on the timer, please? So we have 45 minutes time. We have to follow strictly the time. And to introduce the theme, we're talking about how to bridge the gap, especially tackling the out-of-school children, never enrolled children, bring them back to the school. This is the theme of the discussion. You know that in the country there are 15 lakh schools are there. 250 million children at various levels of education, they're attending the schools. That means 25 crores. When come to the gross enrollment ratio, or net enrollment ratio, is almost all at the primary level, 100%, near 100%. When it goes up to the levels, elementary level, secondary education, senior secondary education, those children who are joining at the primary level, they are not completing +2. If every 100 children join at primary level, only 35 are reaching the senior secondary education level. So 65 children, they are dropping out from the school at various levels of education. This is one issue. Second thing, those who are attending the school, their attendance, attention, and talking about the quality of education. Today, we are talking very high about foundation literacy and numeracy at primary level as per the National Education Policy. So it's not necessarily only FLN program at primary level, but across all levels of education. The quality of education is a concern. Like the children dropping out. Like that, the quality of education also when they're growing one level to other level, it is declining. This is a challenge. Other than these two, the divide between the haves and have-nots like that. Today, out of 25 crores children we are talking about, 50% of those children attending the government schools, in 66% of the schools are the government schools. Remaining 50% going to the private schools. When you see the dropouts are more higher in government schools compared to the private schools. This is one. Second thing is rural and urban divide. The gender divide, male and female. Digital divide. In all these divides, some sections of the people, those who are rural, those who are the girls, those who are marginalized, those who are in government schools, they are the deprived sections. So how to address these issues? Using data-driven insights. If you want to understand where are these children, why they are dropping out, where they are going, where they are now, how to bring them back, you need to have the data. That to be, government has a system of data collection through UDI system. Some national surveys, the ASAR reports are there. They're also happening. So beyond that, how to get this data much more faster way using the technology and kind of thing that can help us in decision making, designing the strategies and kind of thing, bring them back to the school, and specific groups, how to address those challenges and kind of thing. We have to see how data-driven insights or technology can enable us, whatever we have been doing that in a better way. So with this introduction of the theme, I stop talking from my side. I would like to extract the views from the experiences from our panelists. And this is an open discussion. And we have the eminent panelist here, Sanjay, especially he is passionate about the children's rights. He worked in India, South Asia, and West Africa. He is from representing UNICEF. And Akhil is here. He is heading the MIS and the quality assurance from Educate Girls organization. Leena is here. She is working for the representing Missing Links Foundation, working with different kind of segment of the people. And Antony is representing the Sterlite EdIndia Foundation, coming with the vast experience in the field of education. So I start with Sanjay. How do you see this thing? How do you address these issues, what we just deliberated upon that, please?
Okay. Thank you very much. I think the theme about out-of-school children, if we slightly change the question is, who are the children who are out of school? And you beautifully described it. Elementary, primary education, 6 to 14, Government of India, state government, all the data says 100% enrollment. So all of them are in school, 6 to 14. Now come to secondary, then there is dropout. It falls to 70, and then which means 14, 15 years. And then higher secondary, which is 16, 17, the dropout and the enrollment comes to around 70 or 65. So we know who are the children who are out of school between 14 to 17. That's the age group which is out of school. And we'll have to find out ways to bring them back in school. Sex-wise, of course, more girls are out. It's a no-brainer, but the gap is very less. It is 24 and 28. So 28% girls are out, 24% boys are out. If you see the social group, STs, 36 or 37%, SCs, and Muslims. These are three broad social categories wherein you find children out of school. And wealth quintile wise, if you see, it's like 44% of the poorest children are more likely to be out of school, and they are out of school compared to 8% of the richest children. So these are the children. And why I'm giving you these data or figures is that you will have to have a very nuanced strategy for addressing each of these different groups. One size fits all wala karikram nahi chalega. And that's the basic challenge. How do you weave in all these diversity? And let me also give you an anecdote. I was in Hyderabad some 15 years back. MV Foundation used to run a, what do you call, they used to run a campaign against child labor, but they used to start with a survey in village. तो वो सर्वे करने लोग जाते थे, बोलते आप बच्चे को स्कूल क्यों नहीं भेजते? तो द आंसर वाज क्योंकि हम लोग बहुत गरीब हैं. तो वो सर्वेयर चुप हो जाता था. And then we had a PRA session with the community. We asked them, why did you say that we are poor and therefore we don't send children to school? The answer was very mind-boggling. The community said that we know that these guys won't do anything about it. They are surveyors. They are just trying to get some answers out of us, and this session will continue for half an hour. The only way to shut them up is by saying, Hum Garib hai, which means, if I am Garib, are you going to do anything? Okay, we'll get your survey done also. But if I am Garib, what will you do? So people are smart on the other side also. We think that we are fooling them around, but they also fool us. So basically coming back to the point, so you need to identify who are the children, who are at risk children, and we identified some of these children. And there are numerous examples in the country. We call it early warning system. So there are 4 aspects to it, and it's also been digitized. It has been worked in, the model has worked in several states here and there. But the principles are very simple. So through a mechanism, you identify these high-risk children, and you have a data set of these high-risk children. Now, identification of high-risk children is not only prerequisite, you'll have to do something about it. So once you have identified these children, you know that the likelihood of these children to be out of school is more, then you send certain warning signals. And warning signals could be sent through digitized mechanism, and everybody has mobile irrespective. And why do you send these signals? Because you want actions to happen. So there is action at the individual level, there is action at the family level, there is action at the community level, and there is action at the institutional level, and in this case it is school and people who run the school and govern school, teachers, headmasters, and all of it. So there is certain warning signals which goes to them, and you have to be prepared. It is like any of those preparedness program. If you remember in cyclone in Odisha, so many people lost their lives, and we learnt lessons from it. And then we ran preparedness program. Now the data is out, and they say $1 spent in preparedness saves you $8 in response. So you have to invest in. Recently we had a meeting with the Chief Secretary, Government of Maharashtra, and we are working on a very interesting early warning system. So you have this IMD data which tells you what kind of rainfall, flooding kahan hua hai, cyclone kahan hua hai, heat waves kahan hua hai. This data is there with IMD. Then you have a health department which has this health surveillance data. They tell you disease का outbreak कहाँ हुआ है, diarrhea कहाँ पे हुआ है, heat wave से. Can't we bring these two data together? It gives you a trend, it gives you a pattern, it tells you exactly which district is going to be impacted with what kind of weather condition. Based on that, you send warning signals, you send preparedness signals to the school administration, to the district administration, to the community, and they should be trained or they should be informed that what exactly they are going to do once they receive those signals. So I'll stop here and maybe we hear from others. Thanks.
Thank you, Sanjay. One is how to address the critical groups and also preparedness prevention. That is the better. How you can use the technology, especially somebody talking about so the attendance system, digitization attendance system, and by end of the day you can know that it is happening at the teacher's level, the children level, how it should happen there. At the end of the day you can see that across the state, across the country, what is the current trends going on, and that helps us to take the actions. Thank you. I request Akhil, your thoughts on this, please.
So basically, like when we talk about out of school girl, because at Educate Girls, our main objective is to talk about like why the girls are out of school, and they are like huge pockets in Rajasthan, MP, Bihar, and like UP also because of the larger states, which have like around 50% or 60% of the girl between the 5 to 14 age group are not going to school. So we identified like there are three main parameters which are responsible for that. One is like patriarchy, second is like the policy, and third one is the poverty. So these three, as the Sanjay also said, that because of the poverty, like they lead to migration, they are not sitting at one place. For example, we are working in Alirajpur. Alirajpur, like if you search on Google also or YouTube, you will find there is a BBC documentary saying that Alirajpur is one of the poorest districts in India. And there is no like sort of employment opportunities for all the people, so they basically migrate to Gujarat. So in that scenarios, if you want to like ask people to send their girls child to school, even boys also, they will not send because they have to migrate to Gujarat for half of the year and then they can come back during the resting season or like the during the harvesting time. So that is the like one of the scenarios, like the poverty. Then patriarchy is also there. If we go to like when like the founder of our organization Safina started from Rajasthan, where like the patriarchy is very high, like boys are going to school but girls are not going to school. So in the same scenario, that also contribute like on the decision making about all the things, like whether the boy will go to school or girl will go to school, whether the boys will have the phone, mobile phone, or access to technology, or girl will have access to technology. So these again like the cultural norms which are inbuilt in the society. And the last one is the policy. Again, like we all talking about the systemic errors and the problems are there. So there are like very less number of teachers are there in the government schools or maybe in like the rural areas where there like nobody wants to go there and like posted as a government school teacher or maybe as a private school teacher also. That is the scenario. So I think like these are the three areas which are the core center point of being out of school for both boys and girls. Yeah.
Thank you. Leena,
I'll add
you
my
work with
bit.
different kind of segment of the
Yeah.
people. So,
So we're
like to hear
talking about safety. I feel children need safe spaces primarily for them to reach school. And that's not there. In India, the education system and the education institutions are not equipped to handle or even averse or understanding of CPP and POXO laws. We have so many schools and teachers who reach out to us directly on how to solve cases. So we feel that should become like a very strong need and a requirement. It's there in the NEP policy, but has to be really executed in every education institution. Children should be, teachers need to be trained on CPP and POXO laws, principals, caregivers. There should be parents groups in schools who should also know this really well. Another really huge change which we are seeing post-COVID is that we've seen a sharp rise of children coming online. And with really no sense of digital civic sense and cyber civic sense. And what's happening is a lot of children are watching age-inappropriate material. And so 10 to 14, the digital literacy rate in India is 10 to 14 years old are digital literate in India. And the highest rate of predators lurking on teenagers is 9 to 12 years old. They are first-timers who are coming online. So they are people who are coming online befriending strangers. 48% of children online befriend strangers. So we are seeing a really lack of understanding of how to really live in this new digital space which they are inhabiting. And parents also really have no clue. So what's really becoming important is to really educate the children on how to keep themselves safe. Because you have to give them self-agency. And so they have to be given this through very, very, I'll come to that later, the use of tech, how we can make it more experiential and gamified. But it's really important to put child safety education into every school, into every child, into every section from class, I would say, 5 onwards. And all institutions really have to build their capacity on child safety policies.
Thank you, Leena. This is a very important issue, what we have been facing, and especially the girls' point of view. So this is one of the things we have to address. Once they feel comfortable and safe and secure environment, they can continue the education. Yeah. With the, Antony, so what do you think about this issue about the out-of-school children and the different segments of the people, from your perspective?
I think with regard to the different segments, I think all three of them have touched upon. But I would like to touch upon why this dropout is happening. Because is the students dropping out or are we making them dropouts? I mean, that's a question. If you look at the primary school education system, I think Sanjay and all of you have given the details that nearly 100% of them are enrolled. NER is there. But if you look at the single teacher schools in India, it's nearly, I think, about 10%, which is around roughly 90,000 plus schools in India are single teacher schools. And almost 90% of that are primary schools. So imagine we are not giving a good quality or even education, forget about quality, even the basic literacy, numeracy skills we are not giving it. So there is a systemic issue of lack of resources at the primary level. And that's where makes create the real foundation. If you drill deep little more, I think this is coming out from the Sauter report of 2023. You also look at who are the teachers who are qualified at that level, primary level. If you look at DLED and those equivalent degree which are supposed to be for the lower classes, you will find a little less than, very close to 45 to 50% of the teachers are qualified. And overall, if you look at 9% to 10% teachers are not qualified, even they are in the system. So we need to look at the quality of the teachers who are there, especially at the primary level. In India, in a special way, I think we have turned the table upside down. We are giving the most importance to the senior secondary teachers. And any teachers here? Of course, Pramod sir is a great veteran in the education department. But we give so much importance to the senior secondary school and the number of teachers are much less. But the primary is supposed to be, according to me, is supposed to be the best teachers there. But there we give very less focus, whether it is in their development or whether it is in making sure there are sufficient number of teachers over there and also they are qualified. So I think the qualification of the teachers also matters. And when you look at from a safety point of view, what do the children want? What do we mean by a kind of a quality education at the school level? If you are able to provide a safe and happy environment at the school, if you are able to provide dedicated and committed teachers at the school level, and third, I would put, we should be able to have that instruction, classroom instruction, in a language which the student understands. If these three basic things are there, we will ensure that students are in the school. And if you look at students playing in the park, why they don't want to come out of that place? It's not that they want to be at home. I'm just remembering one of the parents who told me, it was way back in 2001, that time I was working with the government of Madhya Pradesh. It's in Chambal Garden, one of the districts called Bint Morena, that area. And we were always going with the passion, get children to the school. And the parents said very clearly, Sanjay, when you talked about parents, important of bringing parents on board, he said, please tell the teacher to teach, then I will send. So the issue is, it's not that that poor parent is not aware of the quality of education. Parent is aware of the limited resources that he or she has, so exactly he knows how to use it. So according to him, he said, what's the point in me giving my children to your schooling system for 8 years, 10 years, and coming out illiterate? At least during that time, I can keep him in my place and make him a good farmer. At least he will be able to earn a livelihood when he grows up. So I think the quality issues is the main challenge. And many of the places, many state governments have exhibited, whenever you turn around the school in terms of quality education, dropout has drastically reduced. So I think that I will stop there.
Thank you. So the teachers are there. It is not seeing them as the teacher-people ratio. We have this number of teachers of children as per the RT norms, NAP policies, everything is fine like that. But actually to engage the children in their learning process at different levels of education, we need to have different kind of skill set for the teachers. So that is something is missing what we talk about. Once upon a time, 15, 20 years back, everybody used to go to the government school. There is an attention on the government school from the government side, from the community side or parent side. That time, the problem was that the enrollment is very less from the deprived sections. So today, the government schools are the nobody's babies. Why they are nobody's babies? Because of the rich and affluent sending kids to the private schools, because they are affordable. Supply side private schools are there, despite whatever the quality they are offering kind of thing. But those who are not able to affordable and those who are economically, socially not empowered kind of thing, for them there is only one option, that is the government school they are sending. But their engagement with the school, the teachers who are working there, and the community kind of thing, there is a huge gulf between those people. So the community, they say they push them away. They create nuisance and nonsense kind of thing. And the parents also not empowered to go and talk. So because of they feel that they are inferior and they are not enough confident enough to go. This is the situation. What our experience shows that when working there, kind of thing. I understood what are the problems, high risk groups and different issues and teacher and how to ready kind of thing. So from in this context, to move, we know the problems and the severity and kind of thing. And also we tried many solutions also. How differently or innovatively we can address these issues and problems, not for any some pockets and kind of thing, country as a whole, different places, different geographies and kind of thing, using the data-driven insights. So how to first of all capture the data, how it can help us this kind of thing. Are there anything technology we can use for the children's engagement? So pushing factors from the school, if the education is somebody saying, why you are dropping out of school? मन नहीं लग रहा है मन क्यों नहीं लग रहा है So in the classroom, the environment with the teacher whom they are interacting kind of thing, the kind of education they are getting it kind of thing. And also today, my own children talking about, they are more than happy seeing the screen. Because on the screen, fraction of second you can move the screens, very colorful and dynamic and it will attract kind of thing. In the classroom, the textbook, it's a monotonous. So pages, printed pages, the teacher is a one way of teaching line kind of thing. This is the reality kind of thing. So here either our teachers should be transformed themselves to meet the expectations of the children. The schools are equipped with the platforms to address the aspirations of the children kind of thing. This is some questions are there. So what are your thoughts on this process? And anybody just to, please.
Maybe I'll start with a story. This was again 15 years back. I went to a school called Rishi Valley School. Rishi Valley School is a top-notch school in India, boarding school. But and many of the rich kids go there. And they are based in a very remote village. So out of sense of to do something for the community where the school is earning and established and all of it, they established school for out-of-school children. So a child may be 14 years old and never been to school. A child might be 8 years old, never been to school. So you have to bridge the learning gap, as well as you will have to bring them to a level wherein they can be integrated into school and into the classroom. And the story is, when I went to this, so this is a single classroom, different age group children are there, some 30 children. The teacher is sitting comfortably on the chair, and I enter the classroom. None of the kids even looked at us, and we were 3 or 4. Imagine if somebody enters your house, obviously you will look at them, talk to them and all of it. And these kids were so engaged in what they were doing that they didn't even look at us. So what does this story tell? So there was something very interesting and engaging that was happening in the classroom. And I kept saying that teachers have to become like, you don't have to, it's a wrong word, but lazily intelligent रहना है. Imagine a teacher, class 1 से class 4 तक वो बोलता रहेगा, he will die, he or she will die at end of the classroom. That's the kind of tiredness. So what was happening in the school was, they threw away the textbooks. And the curriculum, the learning, whatever has to be imparted for age appropriate wise, they broke the textbook into activities. So class 2 ka, if you want to do English lessons, if you complete these 20 activities, then you are done with class. You don't even need to look back at the textbook, the boring textbook which he was talking about. Now what is the advantage? Advantage is, who are these children who are out of school? वो farming laborer का है, migrant laborer का है, उसका harvesting का season में he has to contribute to the household, and also 2 months harvesting season, the child will not be in school, the child comes back. Then there is an older kid who knows that activity. So the 20 activities, the older kid is at say 8th activity. So that 8th activity kid becomes teacher for the student who is fresh in the classroom. So each one is teaching everybody, and teacher is a facilitator and a coordinator. The same thing, now when you talk about digitization and all, it provides you multiple opportunities of doing things in a digital way. But I am just giving you a plain simple example that it has to be made engaging for children to be kind of in the classroom, learning in the classroom, doing something in the classroom. Their experiences has to be brought in the classroom, and digital opportunities takes this to next level in terms of getting all these things in the class.
So the example what you have shared that there is a school in a box, that was the Rishi Valley school. That is they have tried when DP, PSSA programs, all things are there, and different states tried to adapt this kind of model and kind of thing. So in today's context, so that was 10, 15 years back. It is wonderful. Now if you want the same concept but different mode, in technology mode kind of thing, if you want to bring it kind of thing, there are few things we have to address also. One is about if you want to go to mass scale across the state and the country and kind of thing, you require huge investment point of view. One is online is one part, but instead of online, which is, as morning also we are discussing about that, children not able to face attention and not able to, so they do different other things and kind of thing. But the school level, the infrastructure facility, the net connectivity, the content in local language, the teacher capabilities of using those things, assessment point of view, those are the gaps, we have to see that how to address the gaps and kind of thing, and how to make that content, engagement, investment, those things, if you want to go in large scale, that is something we have to find out solutions for that. Innovate solutions, either innovative financing models, innovative edtech models, innovative content models. We have to see that. Well said, Sanjay. That is something we have to, as educators and policy makers, we have to think on those lines. Akhil.
So I have 2-3 points. Like first is understanding the problem. For example, so I will give example of Educate Girls only here. So like when we started the organization, we started on a basis of that we will expand to any district. We will explore all the villages in the particular district and we implement the program for say 5 to 6 years and then exit from that district based on the situation of out of school girl. But again, that is not the most efficient way of doing things because not all the villages will have the problem. Not all the villages will have the same concentration of the out of school girl. So in that scenario, then we decided to use that, okay, let's use AI, let's use machine learning, get all the data from government, like you guys ka data leke aate and then get the census data, train the model, bring the model on this, build a model that is like able to predict which is the geography in India or the hotspot in India which have the most concentration of out of school girl. So that even like the policy makers, government, even like the organization like us can invest in those districts or those blocks only which have the highest concentration and then they can get the most out of it. So this is one example of how we can use the data analytics to understand like the how the girls are or in general children are out of school. Second thing is like we also talking about the digital content, but the digital content is not aligned with like what is my like relatable environment is. For example, we also deliver some sort of remedial content to school. So in the starting, we started like, okay, the H for hat, but the children in the villages have never seen hat, so they are not able to relate it, and wo hamesha they are like making like errors in the H word only because they haven't seen it, so they are not able to relate it. So now we are like H for hut. So maybe like they are able to see, they can relate, okay, there is a hut in my villages. So that kind of relatability in the content, in the the pedagogy we are making, that will not be available for all the things. Like for example, MP is a very big state. So North MP, South MP, East, West, they have like the different areas. Like the sir is talking about the Chambal area, and I was talking about Alirajpur. Both have the different thought process, understanding, challenges. Even the gender roles are very different. Like in tribal districts like Badwani and Alirajpur, women are more empowered than men in taking decision making. But still, again, as an education, they are like still not pursuing it. On the contrary, Morena had like just opposite thought of it. So that like the two things I want to contribute to this.
Yeah. So thank you. I am from Delhi. So the weather is so bad. And every day we see that what is the today's status of the weather. We measure it. So the pollution particles we measure it and you tell that this is the weather condition. Either you have to school shut down or the vehicles has to be diesel vehicles allowed or not allowed. We are measuring, taking the decisions and moving on. Like what you said that, especially when you're talking about, it is not the blanket approach, blanket plan per entire district, entire state kind of thing. We have to zero down that by way of measuring, by using the technology, either machine learning or AI kind of thing, data using that, and take specific decisions, specific to geographies and kind of thing, groups point of view. So that makes a lot of sense, saves the time, energy, and faster decisions. So that is what technology enables the decision making. Thank you, Akhil. Leena,
Yeah.
please.
My bit on child safety. So, sex abuse and exploitation and sexuality are very, very sensitive topics. And it's very difficult to conduct awareness on this in a classroom, trainer to child usually. So what happened is when the first days when we started this work, we really saw that there were two facets to prevention and keeping children in school, because most of the time children who've been abused or who've actually explored their sexuality, they are the ones who tend to drop out from schools, be it elopement or be it teenage pregnancies or child marriage. So we had created a game. It's called the Missing Game for a Cause. It's there on Google Play. We actually put the whole thing was, it has to be experiential. So we used to actually switch on this game in the first section because, when you're entering a classroom of 100 children in government schools, it can be very noisy. So we used to switch on that one trailer and there used to be pin drop silence. So we realized that it really has to be an audiovisual moving image which has to capture people's attention. So going ahead, we've been actually created a full curriculum which is fully audiovisual. And it is experiential, it is narrative based. And delicate topics like sexuality, sex abuse, different forms of sex abuse, which children don't want to acknowledge, or children don't even realize that it's happening to them. They kind of see it through an imagery, through a narrative, through storytelling. And what's really been good, what we saw that WHO has come up with a report which says that violence against children can actually be only solved through education. And the education program has to be interactive, has to be immersive, has to be repetitive, engaging, narrative-based, and actually our program fits it all. So we're really happy we were on the right track from our own learning. And so it's becoming really important, the use of technology to actually curb what technology is also doing is working both ways for us. And talking about real-time learning. So child sex abuse, exploitation is actually an ever-changing issue. Every day there is a new monster in the room. So suppose it's no more there, it's deep fakes or whatever else, which a new technology might be leading to more abuse of children, we have to constantly learn. And so we have to constantly learn, we have to constantly update. The curriculum needs constant updation. So technology, learnings, all that happens only because we are able to use the digital medium. Because it's easier for us to constantly upgrade. We can constantly upgrade our TOTs, our trainers. Their manuals can be totally upgraded to the new, I would say the monster in the room, I call it that way. But new scenarios, new scams, which everybody needs to really learn real time. So for us, it's worked both ways. One more point I'd like to add is that, of course, this whole source and everything should be easily accessible and easy to use by everybody. So it's really important to localize this content, and it should be there available like in an open source space, which we are moving towards. We'd love to see how we can go further on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Leena. Well said. Coming to Antony, especially the teachers are talking about, what our observation, understand, experience shows that the teachers of different age group, from 25 years to till retirement age kind of thing. The teachers, the more the younger, they're more technology adaptive and more enthusiastic, more interested doing kind of thing. And those who are retirement level, 50 years and above, kind of a little bit reluctant, Amara bus ho gaya, sab kuch ho gaya, that is kind of thing. So how they can do justice for the children if they are not able to adapt to the new ways of teaching and learning kind of thing. And second thing, we also do the Tinker coding program in the government schools, where class 6 onwards, both child and the teacher start learning from the zero. Like alphabet starting from class 1, they're learning the new things beyond school curriculum, like either the robotics or Arduino, Raspberry Pi, Tinker Code, what is the sensors, motors, design thinking. Both starts at same level. After 3 months or 6 months, you can see the children are much more ahead than the teachers. So how to address this issue challenge? So teacher is not able to meet the expectations of the children. Got it? And today's context also, children are no more depending on the teacher. Because of if they have access to the internet, the different sources of learning and kind of thing, they can learn self-learning also. This is the context. What do you say on this?
How many of you know that there's one school in one of the states, they have introduced a robot instead of a teacher? Any of you are aware of that? Yes. So in that context, one question to all of you, because all of them are sitting very silently. How many of you feel that teachers can be replaced? Or cannot be replaced? So no, cannot be replaced. How many of you say it's no? All right. But I would like to make a slight difference to the statement. Yes, teachers cannot be replaced, but teachers who cannot use technology will definitely be replaced sooner or later. So in the context of what Suresh, what you asked, I'm just thinking of one example. How do we enable teachers? Many of the teachers themselves are not accustomed or even comfortable with the tools. Some years ago, there was one technology, teachers accepted it with open arms. Any idea which is that technology? Most of them are closed. All those digital classrooms are, no, it's closed. We are talking about digital, everybody is only thinking in digital form. Before the digital era, Blackboard, they open arms, they invited it and accepted it. Why? Because it was useful for them. They were looking for something that can transact in the classroom. Similarly, a lot of technology has been used in our governments, in our schools, government, yeah, private school. I'm not dividing between the two systems. If you look at many of the so-called private schooling system, they have so much smart class enabled classroom which doesn't open up at all. Why? It is not lack of technology, not lack of content. I can also give you another anecdote. Using technology, because teachers are not equipped, what happens? They play like a TV and they go and sit in the staff room. So what's the point in technology? So the challenge here is, how do we help the teachers to use technology in the classroom? Because in fact, I remember one of the state governments, one director asked me, we are mainly working with the pre-service teacher education. So he said, no, Antony, we don't need support at the pre-service level. Give us 50 smart boards. I said, giving 50 smart board is the easiest thing to do. But who are going to man it? Who is going to manage it? No answer. The teachers, are they aware of it? Teachers, are they developed for it? No idea about it. Because everybody wants to get into that bandwagon of technology and filling it up. Another example again, sorry to take time. I went to visit one of the states, one of the schools, and we had a quick tour of the school. And I asked the headmaster, I heard that there is a computer lab, but I couldn't see a computer lab here. I said, did you get a computer at all? Because as per the government record, you have got so many 15 or 18 computers. Oh yes, we have a computer lab, but it is not activated. Where is it kept? So he took me to a room, and I could see it is a grains room. Midday meal, all the grains are kept. And I said, where is the lab? It is just in the other corner. So I had to literally climb up. Just imagine me through the door and climbing on the sacks of grains to see the computers there, lying down. And we had to take immediately that same day, took 2 laborers, cleared it. Within 2 days, we activated the lab. So the issue here is we are wasting a lot of resources in the name of technology. We have less resources, of course, but how do we use this technology to enable the teachers, empower the teachers to use in a classroom in a way that engages students? As all of you have said, engagement is the key. When we are watching the short films and whether it is YouTube or Instagram, why we are getting captivated? Because it's engaging, interesting. That doesn't mean that teachers have to dance and sing in the classroom. There are various ways and mechanisms that can be used, the technology can be used. The second thing is, how are we using technology to look at real-time data? The latest data that we have is 2022. 2022, I guess. I think maybe in some cases 2023. That's the earliest data, latest data that we have. By the time one generation has passed. So we don't have real-time data to take real-time decisions. So we need to take informed decisions based on the current issue, not the past issue which is no more existing, or rather it has changed its complexion. And technology definitely can be used in the form of how to help teachers to identify remediation. We were working with the municipal corporation schools in Bombay. So they came up with the idea, how do we help teachers to improve their teaching process in the classroom. So one of the things that we looked at is we looked at all the marks of the students, item-wise analysis, and we gave them the results. We did not do any interventions apart from this data management. And instead of, most of the time, most of the schools, what happens, instead of remediation, it is the revision of classes happen. Okay, syllabus complete ho gaya? Theek hai. Now let us start from chapter 1 onwards. So most of the time, revision happens in the form of remediation. So this particular analysis gave them where exactly majority of the student, which chapter and which topics that they are having problem with, and considerable improvement in the learning level. And similarly, in the same area in Bombay, they had about, I think, around 34 schools. They said, we want to increase the number of student scholarship. So they were having only 3 student scholarship currently. So again, we went into this data analytics mode and told them where exactly the action can be done, remediation can be done. In the very first year, it moved from 3 to 33. Second year, 33 to 70. This is the next year we are waiting the number to go up again. So the data analytics and the technology can be definitely useful. NEP 2020 is talking about adaptive learning, adaptive assessment and differentiated learning. And well, these are very much possible with the technology, provided the main person is the teacher. The main person, the main character is the teacher. If he or she is not enabled, or at least having that empowerment to encourage the students, then we are not going to use we are not to tap the advantages of technology. I'll just stop with one more anecdote. When in my earlier project, the trustee was visiting the school, and the teacher was not comfortable with the computer. Very smart teacher. He asked the student, why don't you go and, why don't you start the computer and, showcase? The trustee was surprised. But then I had to tell him that this was a situation because of which I think on the spot it was done. At least teacher knows, students know about it. As the point that you are talking about, students can manage, give them opportunities. Can we have such teachers to give opportunity for students? I think we will be in a very good place.
Thank you, Antony. Due to the paucity of time, just only 1 minute is there, just to conclude that. So we understood what are the problems are there kind of thing. And technology, it is a double-edged sword, and how to use it, the right way or wrong way kind of thing. It is not about creating the technology platform, to extract the value from it by way of using it. And as a teacher being in the school, how he or she can engage the children. If a child loves to watch the movie, she says that, no, I don't want to watch movie, I want to listen to this teacher. I want to come to school. I want to understand that kind of engagement. We have to create that in the school environment. So today, the entire day, we are focusing on the theme of education and different aspects kind of thing. The rest of the panels are there. We'll much more deeper we can discuss. So with these words, we conclude this panel discussion. Thank you for your time and your insights.
Before we dive into the next session, let's take a moment to thank our incredible panelists from the first session. I'd like to call Girish on stage to felicitate our panelists. Guys, they've shared such amazing insights on the barriers of keeping children out of school and the innovative ways to bring them back. This has left so much for us to reflect on. Please give a big round of applause for their thought-provoking and impactful contributions. Thank you, Dr. Reddy. Thank you, Mr. Singh. We appreciate you. Come on, let the claps keep coming. Thank you, Mr. Agarwal. Thank you for sharing your insights. Thank you, Ms. Kejriwal. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Mr. Nellissery. Thank you for joining us in the panel today. We appreciate you. Come on, a big round of applause for our first panelists.